This is adapted from Ralph Taylor. I've got a silly question. It's driving me berserk. I'm going to ask my question, so promise not to smirk. When we get lots of snow, I'm curious to know, how does the snowplow driver make it into work? Thank you. Yeah. And our chalice lighting this morning is a longtime favorite from Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Elicia Faul is a licensed massage therapist, a Reiki master, a body worker, and acupuncturist with over 10 years' experience. She is a wife and mom of 3 girls. If you were ever wondering their ages, here they are, 12, 5, and 1. I am very pleased to introduce Elicia, and I'll introduce JP when Elicia closes.
And up till last night, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wrote something like months and months and months ago, and then it kind of got into a discussion in our family, whether I should share that, and finally I won. So we were sharing a bit of this, the somewhat abbreviated version. It's about what I believe about parenting and our choice to unschool. This is like a subset of homeschooling. And it's probably completely foreign to some of you, so that'll be something new. I don't think anyone would deny that parenting is difficult. I know there's a lot of young parents in this congregation, young kids. And I've been at it 12 years, and it's certainly a marathon. In my opinion, parenting begins the moment there's even the possibility of becoming a parent. As soon as you see a positive pregnancy test, as soon as there's any potential, that's the moment where the possibility comes to mind and you make a decision. Will I embark on this journey? Will I accept this child? And the choice should be a free choice, given how much it's going to require. It's going to require all your commitment, all of your energy for a long time. In the beginning, it's physically demanding. It's brainwashing of sleep deprivation, hormones. This little creature you love so impossibly and so fiercely. But very soon it becomes like a danger of shaken baby syndrome, because you're also so sleep deprived and so frustrated. Eventually there's tears and surrender on all sides. We embarked on this ride with an intention to continue our faith practices, our meditation, our commitment to living our truth. So we got at this point with our oldest, school. She'd been in school then 6 years, preschool, 3, 4, 5, kindergarten, first grade, and we're in second grade, and it was just a struggle. It wasn't getting any better. And so we decided to pull her on Valentine's Day. She wanted to go to the party, so we kept going to Valentine's Day in second grade, and then we went to homeschooling. And I already knew that I wasn't going to homeschool. Like, I'm not a teacher. If it's really important that they do all that, you should stay in school where that's their thing. So we found something called unschooling. Unschooling is a real minority of homeschoolers. It's the philosophy that children learn. Children learn based on their interests. Unlike doing school at home, unschooling is free of curriculum and bookwork, unless it's bookwork that they engage themselves in. You could term it child-led learning. My job as a unschool mom, parent, is to create this environment that's engaging and healthy and support them in whatever way I can. Now, this unschooling thing is not unparenting. I'm not a neglectful parent. Don't call child services on me or anything. There's plenty of negotiating needs and setting limits as a matter of course in our home. However, rules are few. One is don't sit on the table. The level of chaos might not work for some, but then if they were unschoolers, they would have maybe a different version of unschooling. There's lots of logistics in raising a child and lots of opportunities to show compassion for the child and for yourself. So I like to call my parenting philosophy sun and water parenting. Just bring it back to simple, back to the basics. What does a plant need to thrive? Sun and water. What does a child need to thrive? Basic needs. They need your attention, they need food, rest, play, fresh air. It's just keeping it simple, being a presence of support. Anything that needs to be learned can be learned now. In this day and age with computer access, you can learn anything you want. And I think that really potentially completely changes it. And, okay, you value democracy, right? We value a free society. So how should we raise our children so that they can move right into that? Why not make their little community democratic? And you don't see that in schools. But there are such things. There are free schools where the children make decisions and they have a lot of freedom and a lot of choice in what they do. One of them is Summer Hill. That's been around a really long time. And there was a documentary done about it, so you could search Summer Hill to get an idea of what that would be. So, wouldn't be complete if I didn't. One of the reasons I got to this point was because my school experience was, by all accounts, I would have seemed like a good student, and I was a good student, and I went through high school and undergrad and graduate school. I went to the nth degree with school, as far as I could go. And then I crashed really, really hard, because the carrot stopped moving, and it ceased to exist. And I had bought into school as the thing, 100%, even though I was miserable. It was like a special torture to be stuck sitting there. And it didn't work for me as, a very physically oriented massage therapist, moving, constantly wanting to do type of person. This will give you an indication how school was for me. When I was the very first week of school, I was still very talkative. I was very social. And I got stuck in the corner for the whole week, the whole first week of school. That taught me, immediately, oh, this is a different playing field. I need to be some other way, So when I hit the end of the road for school, and I began this process that unschoolers coined deschooling, it's when you transition from school to self-led learning. So consider, what do you do when no one's dictating your schedule? What do you learn when you can learn anything? Who are you when you don't have someone dictating who you are? Because that's what you're learning in school. You're being constantly pushed to do what needs to be done. And it seems like most of us are like goldfish swimming in this little tiny space. You swim circles in a tiny space in school, in a tiny desk. And you spend 12 years at that, and then you go to a job in a small cubicle. Never there any consideration of, is this how it has to be? Maybe you spend a few retirement years in an RV, small RV. Maybe you had a few hippie years in a tiny house. And then off you go on a shelf in a little urn. Life is very short. So is that what we really want to experience? And a child is beautiful. I know this from my children, how fast they go from this small being that's very full of potential and driving you crazy. And they grow so quickly, and they're beautiful, and they're creative. They're born with an insatiable curiosity. And it seems like why we chose to do that was diminishing with schooling. We didn't want to see that. So I envisioned that at some point schools could change, and it could become just a simple, safe place to be with other children, learn what they want to learn, and learn from teachers or other students or community members. They wouldn't be graded necessarily. There wouldn't be so much testing. and their success would be measured by their overall health and well-being. We treat children as future adults, which they are. I feel passionately we're bringing up a generation that's going to help heal this world. So how do we need to raise them so they can do that? But many of you, unschooling is not an option. You have to have your kids somewhere, and that's the way it's set up right now. So what would I say? Keep it in perspective. Don't take it so seriously. School is so much pressure now. I think it's gotten worse and worse and worse, and tests and testing. So don't take it so seriously. Always be on your child's side. Always be your child's ally. If it's not working for them and you can find some alternative, don't buy into like it has to be this way, the way society is set up. And don't forget their basic physical needs, because they're just a child. They need movement, they need rest. Sometimes they're just exhausted, sometimes they're hungry. Always, always be on their side, because if they know you love them, they can put up with a lot, as I am testament to. So I'll end with a story that I got off the internet from another unschooler. She wrote this story, and I think you'll probably be able to see the kind of, the train is traditional schooling, and the homeschoolers are the bikers and stuff. But it's called The Beautiful Park. Once upon a time, there was a place where almost all the people lived on a train. The train went forward at a great pace and, of course, stayed on the tracks. Most of the families stayed in the same carriage for the whole journey. Some families didn't care for the train, so they got on their bicycles instead. Many of these families followed right beside the train and pedaled as hard as they needed to stay with it. Others followed the increasingly numerous bike paths that were set up and started at the depot and ended at the terminus, what were often more winding and scenic than the train route. At some distance from the tracks was a garden park that was full of walkers. The walkers meandered around sometimes, and at other times were seen to be walking briskly or even jogging. To the astonishment of passing cyclists, sometimes walkers were even seen to be lounging around on the grass, or smelling the flowers. Doesn't that sound lovely? Flowers. As for the people on the train, they could barely see the garden, let alone notice the inhabitants. At the gateway to the garden, there was always a gatekeeper. People who had jumped off the train, as well as the occasional passing cyclist, would inquire about how to get in, and the gatekeeper would smile and say it was a walking park. The only thing inside was foot traffic. Sometimes hostile cyclists would come close to the gate and shout out that the walkers weren't going anywhere and should be cycling also, try to show off with their trick riding. But the walkers would always just keep walking, sitting, jogging, or dancing along, having such a good time that lots of folks abandoned their bikes and joined in. One day, a cyclist arrived at the gate and wanted to go cycling in the park because it looked so beautiful. The gatekeeper said, "This is a walking park. There are no directions or maps or paths." The cyclist replied, "But this is a free country and I should be able to cycle if I want to." The gatekeeper said, "Then go cycle. There are hundreds of bike paths, but this is a walking park." The cyclist said, "You can get along much faster on a bike. There are fewer distractions. Biking is better." The gatekeeper said, "Biking is not better in a walking park. The people who are walking here have agreed that no one can ride bike here. Your bike will be perfectly safe outside the gate if you ever want to come out and use it." The cyclist went off in a huff, but was back the next day. She said, "What if I agree to walk? Can I go in and carry my bike?" Thank you.
Pleased to introduce JP, who also doesn't need an introduction. JP Holmes is currently pursuing his BS in Environmental Science and BS in Post-Secondary Education at Sitting Bull College, which he's proudly promoting in his wardrobe, which you will see in a moment. And this will be fascinating. Maybe we'll hear more about this. I don't know if we will this morning. His current research, sponsored by the American Indian College Fund Fellowship, includes ecological interaction between snakes and bison. A herpetofauna diversity survey of snakes on a bison grazing pasture on the Standing Rock Reservation. So please welcome JP.
Good morning. So today is our journey, and 1972, I was born in Martin, South Dakota. I was baptized Episcopalian. Not that I remember that, not that I care. I'm pretty sure I was cutely dressed. So that would be the 70s, 72 through 80. All I remember is Grandma making us go to church. So Sunday wasn't an option. We had to go. Because Grandma went, you went. You're up. I loved it when we moved to Montana and we didn't have to go to church on Sunday morning. So the consciousness of what I believe in faith, nothing really happened in the 70s. It stuck out. Moved to a place called Upton, Wyoming. I still didn't understand in faith. My friends in Upton, Wyoming were all Catholic, so they all went to catechism. I was left out of friends I couldn't play with for hours a few times a week. So I was like, I want to go, what's a cat? I want to go play with cats too, so I never understood catechism. So I think, what was it? So I don't know what it has to do with anything, but I remember when Ronald Reagan got shot in 81. Then where's the God? Regardless of who's our president, I don't know, good or bad, if he was or not. But I remember feeling sad, something empty. I cried. It still makes me sad. But we moved on. So something was missing. Then from there we moved to a place called Vermilion, South Dakota. My mom needed a babysitter. It was the worst place. I think Mom and I lived together. I think we hated each other and Vermilion a lot. But there was this thing, we ran into this group called the Way International. These were going to be influential people of my faith for the next few years, from Vermilion, South Dakota to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Great group of people in Vermilion, really loving and caring. Actually, this group kind of reminds me of what it was like in Vermilion being with them. At the time, the Way International was not called a cult that we knew of. It was started up with a guy named Dr. Werewolf. We still have the books on him. I know my mom does. Very, very, very good guy to listen to if you ever get a chance. Dead. He's been dead a long time. But he's got tapes and videos out, books. This is before it went corrupt. They rescued me. I loved going. I loved hearing about God through there. I loved the music. I tried to get I Saw the Light, but I was told it was too Christian, something. Too preachy, too churchy. So we didn't do it. So yes, there is God. And then all of a sudden, that's that. It was really great. We moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We get hooked up with the same different people. Well, stuff started happening. I started learning what drugs were, and then other things. But I still got along really well with everybody inside the Way International. We had gone to the big thing, and God just kind of disappeared all of a sudden. Just disappeared in high school. The only time he showed up was when I got in trouble and I needed him. That was it. That was the only time I found myself asking for anything from a higher being. Then I got out. I went and enlisted in the military. Here's a part of me that I should be dead by 25. That was my whole point of enlisting. I did not enlist to go make it into heaven. I did not enlist it to make it anywhere. I enlisted it to die in battle. That was my complete goal. No God. And I think my first 5 in my military service, I drank pretty heavy in that time. No God. Joined the Marine Corps. Had a Gunny Pitts. Great man. We still talk about him to this day. Sent me this Navy chaplain thing. It's called Credo. It was a Christian religious retreat. A lot of my body that had been lost was found at this place. We had a vault. It was the old Marine Corps recon. It was a room where they armory. So in that room, whatever we talked about stayed in that room. It was locked up when the door closed at night. Found what was called my soul then. I don't know so much God, but I found myself. Went to AA for a while. I was sober there. Those were great rooms too. Awesome rooms for those people that go to those. It worked. And then I think God gave up on me again because he disappeared. He or she disappeared. I'm going to use the he. And I got out of the Marine Corps, went back to the military. Life just spun out of control. And church was no good to me. The Episcopalian church was no good to me. The way international is gone. I have no clue. So I decide that I'm gonna look at faith as no faith, faith no more. I'm gonna start taking this journey to being agnostic. I'm gonna start taking a journey to atheism, because everyone takes the journey to faith, to Christianity. So on my dog tags, I decided to take off the non-denominational things, and I did. I was no more church on there. So if I had died, I don't know who's going to read my thing. I don't know. Somebody would, I guess. The chaplains, nothing. And I started school at Sitting Bull College. I know this is going to be the quick journey, but we got 10 minutes. So there's a lot of gaps in here. So I'm doing the fastest version I can of my life. I started reading stuff. I started listening to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. There's some other atheists out there. Actually, I love Don's thing on the internet that he wrote about the inspirational atheist. I thought that was great. I'm not a devoted atheist like Don is. But yes, the argument to atheist is then you have to have faith in something, and atheists they see these things on TV when they try to get in a corner. Yes, an atheist does have to have faith that they're an atheist. And it's not an easy journey to get here. For me, it's not an easy journey to get here to be atheist, because I still say God bless you when you sneeze. I still carry my keychain, a keychain that has a prayer on there. I still say, may the force be with you, and I say also with you. The Christians that I've talked to that get after me about being an atheist, they say, well, where's your soul? Where is your soul going to go? I said, my soul's here right now. My body's here. And I said, and in heaven, I don't know. I'll be a universe, back to where I started. I don't remember being what I was before I was born, and I'm going to be dead a lot longer than I was alive. So, okay, I'm happy with that. So, this is the last step, is where I am. I walk in these rooms. First time I came, I don't know what happened. There was a round tables, and we were talking, and I was like, I'm never going back. Those people don't believe in anything. I don't know. Bunch of old hippies, that's what they are. So, so again, that whole choice of destination, there's no, here is a choice of destination. I gave it a few more tries. Came back for some things because Clay Jenkinson spoke here once, and some other speakers were here. And then I started meeting people in the group. And I'm like, there's atheists that go to that place. There's agnostics. There's Christians. There's Hindus. There's what? What kind of church is this? This is awesome. I love it. I love it. And, it's funny because here's the other thing real quickly is that yes, Mom and I are like probably the two Native Americans that come here. But I find no spiritualism in Native American culture at all. Because I was not raised that way. So when I get asked those uncomfortable questions about sweat and this, I'm like, I don't know, don't go. Don't ask me weird questions. I don't know that part of me, and I don't want to anymore. I'm good with my choices. So when I get in trouble, I'm going to look in the mirror and go, what the hell did you do? Let's fix this. And I'm not going to ask something that's not there. Do I talk to myself a lot? Yep, I still do that. So, but so my place here at UU, I didn't bring anything to read or anything. But last thing, the one that kept me going when I was in faith was Romans 10:9 and 10. Said something about if you believe, if you believe and say in whatever that Jesus is your whatever, you will always be saved. Right? That was the one line I always kept. The one I like here is this last one. It's always printed here. I love it. Is respect for the independent web of all existence of which we are a part. I don't have to believe in someone or something that I've never met. I get this web, and I have my friends outside of here too that are Christians and everything else. So I would like to thank this place for existing. So, and appreciate all of you too. I do. Thank you.
If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace.